Injustice 2 Mobile has a lot of great characters. It has a lot of bad characters, it has a lot of decent characters, but today I'm going to be talking about 5 characters which I believe to be underrated. Number 5 is going to be Cyborg. I feel like a lot of people underestimate this character just because he's a silver character. However, one of the great things about Injustice 2 and the way the gear system works is that almost any character can be an attack character or a health character just because you can change those talents to be attack or health or defensive or whatever you want it to be. In Cyborg's case, this guy is an insane health tank character. The reason why is because of his passive. Every second that he's tagged out, he generates 2% of his health back, which is nuts. If you have his health up to like 50k, for example, he can be generating, I think it's about 1,000 health per second. And if you're taking a hard special from an enemy and it does 5,000 damage, for example, you're gonna generate that health back in 5 seconds that he's tagged out. That is crazy. When you tag him out, and by the time the cooldown goes away, when you tag him back in, he's back at full health. That is nuts. In addition, one of his abilities does power drain, which just helps out the whole team in general. Also, the shards. The shards are great because you can grab them through campaign, and it's also one of the lower chapters in campaign, which means that it's not going to cost you a lot of energy. Which means that you can probably get like, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 in a day. I'm not sure. I haven't done the math, but you could get a boatload really quickly. And because he's a silver character, you don't have to get all those 450 shards to get him up to 5 stars. Overall, I really love Cyborg, and I think he is really underrated. Number 4 is going to be Nightwing. I really love Nightwing as well. All of these characters in this list I love. The reason why I love Nightwing is because of his passive. Whenever he blocks, he generates zero point 0.3 bars of power when he gets hit. And this is great for basic attacks because a lot of people like to build their characters to have fast attack. And fast attack stacks on top of Nightwing's passive. So if someone hits you with 3 hits when they have the fast attack, that means that Nightwing is going to generate 1 bar of power per basic hit. That is nuts. Versus Flash characters, he can build an entire power bar in a matter of seconds. I kind of relate to him, or I kind of compare him to Dr. Fate, just because the amount of energy that you save and the amount of energy you get is ridiculous. I think that is one of the big things that's underrated about him. Another thing that's underrated about him is his abilities. His abilities can stun, they have increased crit chance, and they also power drain the enemy, which is just, that's a bonus. That's an amazing bonus because if you're in a sticky situation, you can just activate whichever one you want and, correlate to whatever your situation calls for. On top of that, the shards aren't as easy to get as Cyborg because you have to get them through the arena seasons. However, in one arena season, you can get 360 shards, which is, again, nuts. You can upgrade this character all the way in, I think it's 3 seasons worth of him, 3 or 2 seasons worth of him. Either way, he's an insane character, and if you could just get him up to 4 stars, he still works just as great. Number 3 is going to be Blade Master Robin. I really feel like this character is heavily underrated, and I think one of the reasons is because he's an older character, right? He's like Predator Batman, where they've been here forever. But one of the great things about Blade Master Robin is that his passive is basically timeless. His combo meter is at 7 hits as long as he gets 1 hit in, all right? It never goes below 7 hits, which is great. It saves you a lot of time from having to finish an entire, combo build or whatever, an entire combo string, because all you have to do is really get 1 hit and you're already at 7 hit in the combo meter. On top of that, if you give him more fast attack, he's going to be able to build up even quicker. So in that essence, I really like him over, I don't know, maybe Reverse Flash or Speed Force Flash because he doesn't waste the time to get to 7 hits. It's only a little bit, it's only a couple of seconds that he saves you. However, those little seconds can really add up to a lot, especially when you're fighting raid bosses. One example would be fighting Dr. Fate. A lot of people like to put Reverse Flash, Silver Banshee, and Silver Dr. Fate against Boss Dr. Fate. However, I personally like to put Blade Master Robin, Silver Banshee, and Dr. Fate against Boss Dr. Fate. And the reason why is because he saves you a lot of time from having to finish the entire string of combo. Once you get that 1 hit in, his combo meter is already at 7 hits. It's really quick and it saves you a lot of time. And on top of that, you can tag in Silver Banshee automatically and do the damage and then tag her out. And your combo is already going to be at 7 hits in like the next 2 seconds. It's amazing. I really love Blade Master Robin. Unfortunately, his abilities aren't that great. They don't really have a lot of diversity to them. One of them can stun an enemy, but a lot of people have stun resistance nowadays. so that doesn't really do much. However, his shards, you can get him through one of the later chapters in campaign, which has its positives and its negatives. One of the negatives is that it requires more energy because it's on the later part of the campaign. However, one of the positives is that you can get more credits while grinding this out. And this is the case with me. I didn't even know I had Blade Master Robin at 6 stars, but the reason why I did have him at 6 stars is because I always grind out those later chapters to get more credits. And obviously, that chapter, one of those chapters is with Blade Master Robin, so they give you shards every single time that you beat that chapter or that little area of the chapter. And because of that, I just over the years I've just built up Blade Master Robin to have a bunch of shards, which is great. Again, I really feel like this character is underrated. I don't think a lot of people give him the chance. However, if you get the chance, and you probably already do have him at 6 stars, just give him a little bit of try, or just give him a try. I'm pretty sure you'll like him. Number two is going to be Atlantean Armored Aquaman. I really, really, really love this character, right? I know I said that for almost everybody, but I love, love, love this character. I love his passive and I love his abilities because they work together and they have a lot of diversity to them. So, first and foremost, is the passive. The passive is that he generates about 4,000 health over 7 seconds after activating an ability. Okay, so not only when he activates his ability does he do damage, but he also gains health, which is a plus. His special one does armor pierce. His special two does dot damage and power drain, and his special three it just does damage. Unfortunately, that one doesn't really do much. However, his special two is where the money is at. All right, this special two is probably the greatest special two of all time, and the reason why is because it does a dot damage and it does the power drain. And on top of that, you got to remember that he's healing up through all of this. So not only is he disabling the enemy's abilities or specials, he's also healing himself and he's also doing dot damage on top of that. That is nuts. I really love this character. It's also one of those characters like Blade Master Robin and Predator Batman where he's been here a long time, but I don't care. He's awesome. I don't really mind the fact that he's old. A lot of people won't use the older characters just because they're older. I love Atlantean Armored Aquaman, and I really wished he got like the respect that he deserves because in Arena, Champions Arena, campaign, challenges, everything else, he is amazing. And in raids, he doesn't do a lot of damage, but he can still pull off those 3 million damages. And in my opinion, 3 million damage is actually pretty good. I don't know why people complain about that. But either way, I don't care. I don't care what other people think. I love Atlantean Armored Aquaman, and I strongly suggest you try out this character. Number one is going to be John Stewart Green Lantern. I feel like a lot of people know that this character is awesome, but they never really take the time to build him. I did take the time to build him just because I really loved the way that he moves, his gameplay. I know that sounds a little bit weird because it's a mobile game and you just tap. However, for those of you who know, you know. Characters like Swamp Thing are really slow, they have terrible range, and that's their gameplay. It's really bad. However, with John Stewart, Green Lantern, his gameplay is awesome. Not only is he quick, he also has pretty nice range. He looks really cool, especially when you max him out. I love all of that, all right? On top of that, he has a lot of passives. I don't use a lot of those passives. However, let's read them. He adds 100% team hazard and hazard dot damage. He decreases 50% of hazard and hazard dot damage incoming for the team. And he's also immune to hazard secondary effects as well as his team. And he also adds 20% attack for Green Lantern teammates. In my opinion, the best one out of all of that is that he's immune to secondary effects, hazard secondary effects. He also gives that to his team. So for example, they're immune to power drain, which is really cool because a lot of characters nowadays power drain. However, in my opinion, the main selling point about him is his special 2. I love the way his special 2 looks. On top of that, it's also armor pierce. On top of that, it also does a lot of damage just in general. I love it. It looks cool. It does a lot of damage. It's armor pierce. It's intimidating. Everything is great about that. On top of that, I know I keep saying on top of that just because there's a lot of things to go to go around with this character. His special 3, I have seen a few, not a lot, but a few gameplays where he does do a lot of damage on raids just because of his special 3. And I think that's where people understand that he does have potential. However, you have to work on him a lot to get him there, you know? With King Aquaman, you can get him up to 4 stars and he could do like 5 million damage easily. So people would rather build that than build John Stewart Green Lantern. However, I don't just play raids. I also play arena. I also play champions arena. I also play campaign. I like to have a little bit more diversity into my roster. So I feel like John Stewart really adds that. His special one does dot damage. However, it's not that great. I mainly use him for his special two and his special three. However, just in general, I love his gameplay. His gameplay is one of the best things about him because a lot of characters are really slow. A lot of characters feel like they don't have like the range that they should be getting. Like for me, Batman, I love Batman. However, his gameplay isn't that great. I feel like his range, because he's Batman, I feel like he should like stride a little bit longer. His punches should reach a little bit longer. And that can be really frustrating. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal. However, the AI takes advantage of every single mistake that you make. And with John Stewart Green Lantern, in terms of his gameplay, that's rare. I don't make a lot of mistakes in terms of missing a hit or anything like that with John Stewart Green Lantern. On top of that, his stats are pretty great. They're really well rounded. He's got a lot of health, he's got a decent amount of attack. It's pretty good. You can basically go about this character whichever way you want. You can build him as an attack character or a health character. But the only reason why I put him at number one is just because I feel like a lot of people know he's good, but they don't really do anything about it. Like I said, a lot of people would rather build Armored Supergirl or sorry, Multiverse Armored Supergirl or King Aquaman. This guy's kind of just in their shadow. On top of that, he's also one of those characters that you can get in I forgot what it's called, the raids store, I guess you call that. I don't know. It's just called the store, but it's in raids. So in the raid store, and he's one of the cheapest characters to get because it only costs 100 Justice League credits to get 5 shards, which is pretty cheap. King Aquaman costs twice as much. So you can do with that information whatever you want to do with it. Maybe you want to go with John Stewart. Maybe you want to go with King Aquaman. I do recommend going with King Aquaman. However, if you do have those extra league credits, I strongly suggest you build this character. I love him. He's a really fun character. Like I said, not necessarily the greatest character of all time, but he is really fun. And I think that's one of the main things people have forgotten about this game is that, or about games in general. It's about having fun. And this character basically sums that up into basically just his own character. I don't really know how to put that. But, anyways, that was my list. I really hope you guys not agree with it, but understand that it's my opinion. If you guys have any underrated characters in your opinion, I would really like to see them in the comment section. Just because I feel like this game suffers from a lot of like unknown characters. Sometimes I go through my roster and I'm like, oh, I forgot he's here, and or like, oh, I didn't even know I had him at 4 stars or whatever. Because a lot of people just focus on the over damage, those over killers, in the game, which is okay because doing damage can be fun. However, I feel like we also need a little bit more diversity. There isn't a lot of characters that do a lot of damage, which means that you're kind of just stuck using the same people over and over again. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys have a good day and have a good rest of your day. I guess I just said that, but whatever. I'm tired. I just woke up.